Let's wrap up this portion of the project by building out the footer. We already have our copyright in place, but we should add some social links and icons so that people can connect with us from any page on the site. First, let's add in the social icons for Twitter and Facebook. If you don't have a Twitter account or a Facebook account, or either one, don't worry. You can go ahead and link to whatever site you'd like, or you don't have to link to any site at all. If you do choose to link to another website or another social network, just be sure to replace the imagery with the appropriate logo for that social network or for that site. The iconography we need for Twitter and Facebook are included with the project files for this video, so if you haven't already downloaded the images folder like we did in the previous video, be sure to do that now and include them in the project, simply by dragging them onto the file tree here. Now, let's go ahead and scroll down to our footer. And inside of this footer, I'm going to type image, src for source, and then I'm going to type the relative path to our Twitter wrap ping image here, or PNG. So I'm going to type twitter-wrap.png, and I need to go back to the beginning here to make sure that I include the image folder there, because it's inside of the images folder. So just typing Twitter wrap won't work. You need the images folder. And then I'm going to type an alt attribute. And in this case, we're not going to add captions to these images, so we do need to add an alt attribute. So the alt attribute I'm going to type is just going to say Twitter logo, because that's what this picture is. Now to save some time, I'm going to copy this line and paste it, because we just need to change Twitter to say Facebook, and then we just need to change the alt attribute to also say Facebook. Again, you could find alternative icons that you like better, provided you have the permission from the owner to use them. Now, let's link these to our Twitter and Facebook profiles. I'm going to type in the links to my personal Twitter and Facebook here, but you should type in the links to your own profile. So at the beginning of this line, I'm going to type an anchor element with the href http://twitter.com/nickrp, which is my username on Twitter. Then I'm going to close this, and I'm just going to take this closing anchor tag and put it at the end of this line. So we have an opening anchor, the image for Twitter, and then a closing anchor. So this will create a picture that links to my Twitter profile. Now we need to do the same thing for Facebook. So I'm just going to copy that line and paste it here. We need to change twitter.com to facebook.com. And my username on Facebook is different than my Twitter handle. So I'm going to type Nick Pettit. And then at the end of this line, which you'll notice has actually wrapped to the next line, I'm going to close my anchor element. If you don't want to wrap to the next line like this, you can go up to the View menu and uncheck Word Wrap. And that will leave your lines as is, but it will add in a scroll bar down at the bottom so that you can see what's at the end of the line. I actually prefer to keep Word Wrap on so that I can see all of my code at once without having to scroll horizontally. So again, even though this looks like it's on a new line, it's actually all one line. And you can see that if you look at the line numbering over here on the left-hand side. Now let's save the page, go to our preview and refresh. If I scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page, you can see the logos for Twitter and Facebook, and if I click them, it will bring up my Twitter profile. Now, there is one more very important thing that I'd like to point out before we wrap up. We've used two different types of links on this page now. Notice how the links in the images are relative links, like we discussed previously. But over here, we have the full web address, which is an absolute link. A relative link describes the location of a file relative to the current file. So again, index is relative to the image folder. They're sitting at the same level in the directory structure, and you can see that because they're aligned with one another, just like so. And then inside of the image folder is our image Twitter wrap and Facebook wrap. If you can't see all of the file name, you can go ahead and adjust the size of the gutter here, or the size of the file tree, relative to the size of the text editing area. As a general rule, you want to use relative links whenever possible, because this will make your website more portable. What I mean by that is when we take our entire directory structure and put it somewhere else, all of these relative links will still work with this index file because they're in the same directory together. If I were to type out the full domain name here, so we could say example.com/image/ the name of the file, and if we did that and then we tried to put this website on another domain, such as example2 or something like that, then all of our images would break because it's not the same path anymore. So you want to keep these relative. However, because we're linking to an external website, such as Twitter and Facebook in this particular case, we do need to use absolute links. So to remember this rule, just think you need to use relative links whenever you can, and only use absolute links when you absolutely have to. We added a ton more markup to our page. It can take a long time to memorize HTML elements and CSS properties, and even the best web designers look things up using a search engine all the time. Don't worry if you're having trouble taking in everything we're covering. What will help more than anything else is lots of practice. So let's pause for a code challenge and code some more with the elements that we just learned about.